So when we talk about dissertation, as I told you, dissertation is a research work and which starts with statement of the problem. Statement of the problem is not part of your dissertation, but at initial level, you have to decide that what to study. Basically, when you start thinking of a topic, at on which topic you have to do a research, then first you have to identify the problem, and that is statement of the problem. For example, suppose you are watching a prime time news uh, program, and while watching the program, you find that the news is very much biased, or the attitude of anchor is very much biased, right? So you cannot give your opinion right away, but if you want to give a valid opinion regarding your observation that anchor is biased, you have to do a research. And by research, through figure and facts, you may be able to give this statement that yes, that particular channel was biased on this program or on prime time shows, right? So this is, so first you have to identify the problem, that in which area you have to do the research. So statement of the problem, you should first think about it, that in which area you want to do a research, and if area is identified, then what are the topics, which things are grabbing your eye, which things are affecting you, which things are puzzling you, and so you want some answers, right? So to find answer, to seek answer, you have to go for research, right? So when you come up with a problem, then the first chapter of dissertation is introduction, that you introduce the topic first. I will give you one example also, and through example we will try to understand that how to start a dissertation. So at the end of this presentation, I will come up with an example and try to demonstrate that how to start a research topic. The first thing is introduction. That when you find a problem, that yes, this is the problem. Suppose take this problem, that a study on attitude of anchors uh, on attitude of anchors of different TV channels during prime time shows. Suppose this is your topic, you want to do a research, right? So how will you introduce the topic? You will introduce the topic first, that what is electronic media and why TV news are important, how many channels are there, what is prime time shows. So these kind of things you will try to say in introduction, right? After introducing the topic, you will come to review of literature. So review is very important. Suppose you have this topic that you want to know about the attitude of anchors during prime time shows, then there must have been various research previously done on this topic. So you will have to find those research papers. There are so many online platforms from where you can get those research papers. You will read those research papers. You will try to find out what kind of methods they had used, what are findings of those research. So it will help you in framing your own objective. Because suppose this kind of study had been done earlier, and suppose you find that there are certain findings, you find that yes, these were the methods they have used in their research, then what will you do? You will try to write those findings by giving proper references of those research papers or those scholars, that according to this these were the findings. According to Y scholar, these were the findings. So this is how literature review is written. After reviewing literature, then you will come to your own objectives. Why? Because now you know that what are the researches which are being done earlier, and according to your reviews, now you are in position to define your own objectives. There may be two, three objectives in the example we have taken. In that example, your objective may be to find out the approach of anchor while discussing an issue. Okay, this is the first objective. The second objective may be to differentiate between attitude of Hindi and English news anchors while discussing an issue. This may be your second objective. So this is how you frame your objective, right? So after objectives, as per objectives, you have to define your research method, right? Suppose we had taken the first two objectives. That first objective was that to find out the approach of news anchors while debating an issue. How will I come to know about this objective? How will I find out the answers? Through content analysis. Obviously, I will have to watch that TV program, and while watching those programs, I will figure out their approach, right? The pro-government or anti-government or neutral, whatever you will come to know. So your research method would be content analysis, and content analysis is a quantitative method. Suppose we have third objective, even second objective, that to differentiate between approach of Hindi and English news anchors, then what you will have to do? Again, you will have to go for content analysis of one Hindi channel, prime time show, and one English news prime time show. And then you will be able to differentiate between them. So when you go for content analysis, and suppose we have third objective, that what are the effect of their presentations or these kind of approaches on the TV watchers. Suppose you have third objectives. So this third objective, what you will have to do, you will have to go for survey, because you want to know the effect of these news programs on the TV watchers. So you will go to the TV audience and you will go for a little survey, or you can go for in-depth interview of few people, 10, 15 people, and through that you will try to, through questionnaire, you will try to find out that what kind of effect it has on the audience. So you are must be understanding that you decide about the research methods as per the objectives, right? So accordingly you decide your method. So all are connected. First you write introduction, then you do a review of literature related to your topic, and then you frame your own objectives, and as according to objectives you decide your research methods. And after research method, when you get the data, right? So suppose for content analysis, as our first two objectives were related to content analysis. So to do content analysis, you must have read that to do content analysis, we have to find out, we have to create a code sheet, right? And code sheet related to approaches, right? Suppose we have biased approach, unbiased approach, or neutral approach. To identify that which statement of anchor is biased, which statement of anchor is unbiased, and which statement of anchor is neutral. So to do so, we have to define these three distinct categories. And in our case, there are three categories. First is unbiased, second is biased, and third is, and through that, you will come to know about the percentage of biased content, percentage of unbiased content, and percentage of neutral content. You can find out some keywords also, the keywords they use. Even if you go further, you can use the gesture of anchor while stating a thing or that how many times anchor had stopped a particular speaker to speak. From that way also you can find out that what are the approach of the news anchor. Suppose you find that each time when an opposition party spokesperson try to say anything, anchor try to halt him, try to stop him, right? So this is bias. And if a government side uh, spokesperson or government party spokesperson, a party in government, that spokesperson is saying anything, and suppose anchor is not stopping him, it is also a kind of biased approach. So in that way you can count. So you will have to make a code sheet first, and accordingly you will come to know about these things. Similarly, if you want to go for survey, then you have to, on the effect of audience, what kind of effect you feel. Accordingly, you will frame, you will design your questionnaire, and you will go with that questionnaire, and you will come with the answer, and then you will find out the percentage of effect, how positive effect, negative effect. So, what kind of effect they have on such kind of programs. So, this is how we do research. And now when you come up with the all the data, you go for data analysis, right? You analyze the whole data. Analysis means that whatever you get, you write about the data, right? Suppose in content analysis you find that 58% of content is related to unbiased content. 40% is content is unbiased. Suppose this is the data you are getting, so you will just write down all the data. This is the data analysis chapter. And after that, after data analysis, you will come to findings. You will write objective wise finding, right? You will write the first objective, and then whatever finding you have. And finding, you will include data of all the methods. Suppose something I got from survey, something I got from content analysis, something I got from in-depth interview. So all the supporting things of that objective should be written over there in finding, because here you have full freedom of writing your view as per the data suggesting. So put the data and write your findings. So accordingly, you will write findings of all these three objectives, and after writing the findings, objective right findings, you will come to conclusion. So now we will give a conclusion to your study, and lastly, you will give references that the documented you have referred in your literature review, right? So all the references should be given here. So this is how you conduct a research. Or will you do content? Take one example. Suppose I just write down the thing for you so that you may understand it better way. Suppose take a very easy example. Suppose my topic is study on new media uses and gratification among students. Suppose we have this topic, right? And for this topic, objectives are to find out most popular new media platforms among students. Our second objective may be to assess the gratification of social media platform. Right? Our objective may be on academic performances of students. Academic performance of students. Okay? Suppose we have these three objectives. Now, as per objective, suppose for first objective, what will be our method, right? To find out most popular new media platforms among students, we will have to go for survey, right? So for sampling, survey, suppose you want to do survey, then you will have to decide that whether you want to go for probability sampling or non-probability sampling. Right? So first objective will be done through survey. We are talking about research method. Now for second objective is to assess the gratification of social media. Again, same thing, survey. Through survey, we will ask students that what kind of how they gratify their need, what are the gratifications, why they use social media. Again, for second objective also, they will go for the survey method. And third objective, we may go for in-depth interview of teachers. The teachers, we will go for in-depth interview, we may go for that. So these are the research methods. So after deciding research method, what we will have to do? For survey, you will have to design a questionnaire, right? And even for first two objectives, you will have to design questionnaire. And for third objective, for in-depth interview, you have to decide that what kind of interview you want to take, structured or unstructured, right? So if you want to do a structured interview, then you will have to define the question before taking the interview. You have to write down the question and you will have to stick on the structured questionnaire. And for unstructured, one another semi-structured. Semi-structured means some questions will be structured and some questions will be unstructured. So at the time of interview, you may ask some other questions, then you can deviate from your questionnaire in semi-structured questionnaire. So this is how you design your idea, right? Once this is done, once objective is final, once research method is final, then it is very easy to do, right? You have to just write introduction. Suppose I have to write introduction of this topic, a study of new media usage and gratification among students, then that is a very easy task, right? We can write, start from what is new media, what is social media. We can write about this theory also, usage and gratification theory also, and there some researches, we can quote some books also in introduction that why usage and gratification theory is important for media studies. And after that, we will come for review of literature related to this particular topic, usage and gratification of new media. It may not be done, it may not have done on students of CUSB, students of Gaya. It may have done on students of New York University. So no problem. You are just using the same study and you are trying to find out the usage and gratification of students of Gaya. So there is no harm in repeating this study. There is no harm because you have new universe. You are applying the idea on another area. So you can do this, no problem at all, right? So this is how you do a research. Tabulated, so how will you tabulate it? Suppose you want to see the number of developmental stories published in a newspaper. Suppose you want to see this. So how will you tabulate that data? You will have to categorize the content first. It means that you have to make a table, right? Table,
Yes, sir.
table maybe
Another new game.
suppose
Categorized.
if I want to tabulate a thing, we may start with suppose if you are doing content analysis of a newspaper, suppose, right? So
Yes.
I have to see the kind of data or which kind of news are being published in a newspaper. So we can define it. One may be political, crime. Then we can say about business,
Sports.
entertainment.
So many.
Then we can go for development stories and so on, right? Again, in development stories, you can further, bifurcate it. Further, you can differentiate between different developmental stories also. One may be event-centric development stories. One may be uh,
Subdivision, sir.
subdivision. Yes, one may be
Yes.
uh, uh, awareness-related development story. One may be opinion-related development stories. So further you can see. So this table should be in your hand before starting the content analysis, right? So that you can just go to a particular page, and if there are in a particular page there are 10 stories, and even further you can divide it in column also. Here you can say column, right? So here political stories, suppose there are 10 stories in a particular page, we find 4 stories of political stories, and column, suppose overall column were, if we include all the columns of 4 stories, then maybe it is. So suppose this way we can write the whole idea of, I mean, how much content is being published. 4 political stories, 2 crime stories, 1 business story, 1 entertainment, 1 development. Further, in development stories, 1 was event centric, 1 was related to awareness, opinionated stories were 0. And we can write here the date of that content. And we do this kind of content analysis of, further for 1 month. Then we will be in position to find out the how much percentage of development stories were published in a particular newspaper in 1 month. It would be possible by generating this content,
Yes, sir.
right? So that's why before starting a content analysis, you must have a well-defined code sheet, exclusive criteria. Criteria should be exclusive. That should not be mixed. If you will keep mixed criteria, then you will face difficulty when you will start content analysis. You will not be able to define that in which category you will put that particular content. So that must be well defined exclusive criteria of code sheet.